And hello everyone, this is Aspect here and welcome back to the channel. We just hit 300 subscribers. It's kind of weird that the channel is actually growing so much. I remember when I first made this channel back in 2017 and I uploaded a bunch of really shitty videos, and I thought to myself, if I could ever one day get 100 subscribers, that would be the dream. And I never really thought past that. And then now we've tripled that. We are only 33 subscribers away from being 1/3 towards the big goal, the 1,000 subscriber goal. I've been thinking, and I don't do that very often, guys, what I want to do for my 300 subscriber special. And I had various ideas. I could do something silly like I usually do, but I didn't really feel like doing that because I'm already gonna do something silly, which I still need to do. And then I started browsing YouTube to see what other people have done for their milestones and what kind of choices I had. And then I found it. I thought to myself, why don't I just make a video explaining how I make my videos? Because there have been quite a lot of people wondering about what kind of software I use, how much time I put into my videos, how I edit the way I do, all these things, and all of that I will be explaining in this video. But before we get on with the editing, I actually want to start with my recording equipment, not the full setup because I've already done that. And if you want to see the specs of my setup and all those things, you can check out this video. I want to start with the things that I use for my recording and streaming things, so the microphone, the camera, things like that, because I actually forgot to do that in my setup video. Okay, so I'm actually gonna use my phone to record the setup around me. So let's start with the microphone. The microphone, I have it in front of me. Oh, that's very zoomed in. But the microphone that I have is a Divine 50 USB. It's a microphone that I've used for years now, and it's really, really good. The only problem I really have with this microphone is it doesn't have any noise canceling, because it's not that expensive. It's 50 euros. But what I did to fix that is I played around with my microphone in my OBS settings, and I managed to make it really, really good. Next up, the camera. Now, I don't really have an expensive camera, as you could probably tell. It's pretty shit. The camera that I have is actually a webcam. It's the Logitech C920. I got this thing back in 2018. I got it for Christmas, I think, and I've been using it ever since. The thing is, when I got this thing back then, it was still a good camera, because that was still in the time when it was okay to record videos in 30 FPS. Whereas now, if you still make videos in 30 FPS, especially gaming videos, you will literally be shot. So I really need to get a better one, and I will get a better one eventually. Then we're gonna move on to the software. So what I use to record my camera is I use OBS, which you can see right here on my second monitor. I have it as a full screen scene. As you can see my microphone all the way, and I actually turned off the desktop audio because I use a different program to record my game. What I use to record my game is I use something called GeForce Experience. I'm not sure if I can show it on screen. I don't know if OBS registers it, but let me try. This is what I use to record my screen. I use the record feature in GeForce Experience. The main reason I use this is that it doesn't have any lag of any sort, and the only reason I don't use OBS to record my screen is that I already have to use OBS to record my camera. Now, you might be thinking, Aspects, if that's the way you have to do it, then why don't you just record your webcam and your camera both with OBS? Well, you see, I could do it that way, but then I would be a lot more limited in my editing. So basically what you're saying is I could record my webcam this way, the way I have it right now. And I could do that, and as a matter of fact, I do that sometimes. Well, I don't record this way. I have this scene right here for replay buffer, which is basically when I'm playing games for myself, I just have this open in the background in case something funny happens. I can clip it, and it will have my face cam as well for the reaction. Before, I always used GeForce Experience's instant replay feature for this. So what I did, I would just press Alt F10 on my keyboard. It would save the last 5 minutes, and everything would be perfect. But the reason I decided to switch to OBS's replay buffer is that it has a webcam option. But as you can see right here, let's say I want to react to something. Let's go onto YouTube. Let's say I go into YouTube and I want to react to something, some kind of video, something like that. I would be able to zoom in on my camera, but what if I want my camera to be the top corner? I wouldn't be able to do that. Well, okay, technically I would be able to move my camera into the top corner like you're seeing right now, but I would not be able to get rid of my camera down here in case it's blocking anything, because it is like this on the original file. Whereas if I record them separately, I can move my camera anywhere anytime. And that is basically why I do it this way. And I mean, it's worked so far, so I don't see any reason why I will change it. Now, the lighting that I have is also not super good. It's very yellow. I need to get better lighting, but that's something that I'll worry about later on. I am working on that. However, now it's time to finally move over to Adobe Premiere Pro, which is the software that I use to record not record, but edit all of my videos. So as you can see, we are currently in Adobe Premiere Pro. I just made a new project. I actually just recorded a different video before this, so I'm gonna be editing this one as an example. And I'm gonna give you guys a step-by-step guide of how I edit my videos. Now, before we move on, I do have to say, don't just go and copy my style. I'm just here to show you like the ways of how I do it, but this is my style that I've developed over the years, and it might not fit for you. Every content creator has a different style. Sure, some of them might look similar, and that mainly has to do with like some people have the same editor, stuff like that, but every editor has his own unique style. So if you're just gonna go and copy someone else's style, that's not really fun. And you might think, oh, well, that's what's gonna make me popular on YouTube because that's what made them popular on YouTube. Wrong. If your commentary is boring enough, the editing really won't matter that much. I mean, look at me. But anyway, let's carry on. Also, like I said, I just showed you guys what I used to record what. So currently I'm recording my screen with GeForce Experience, and I'm recording my camera with OBS. Anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna go into my files, and I go into my HDD, which is where I store everything like video file wise. And let's first get the file. So let's go to GeForce Experience. It's gonna be a Minecraft video that I'm gonna edit. So we're gonna go to base profile because for some reason that's what GeForce Experience saves my Minecraft files under. I don't know why. We're gonna scroll down and we need this one. This is the one that I need. We're gonna drag it into here, and that's gonna start generating a peak file. You just want to let it do its own thing. In the meantime, we're gonna go back and we're gonna go into OBS recordings, which is where all of my camera footage is stored. And let's get to this one. This is the camera file for that same video. All right, all the peak files are generated. I'm not entirely sure what they do, but I just let them do their own thing. So let's drag both files onto my timeline. And now comes one of the most important parts of recording your gameplay and camera separately: syncing up the footage. If you don't sync up your footage, something like this can happen. Oh no, a creeper just blew up. Oh no, a creeper just blew up. Very delayed reactions, or reactions that happen too quickly. But Aspect, how do I know how to sync up my footage if I started the recording of my gameplay later than the recording of my camera? Well, there's a pretty simple option for this. What I do in the beginning of each recording, including this one, is when I start my gameplay recording, so the GeForce Experience one, when I turn on my recording, after I turn it on, I turn on the microphone for a couple of seconds. Then what I do is I say loudly 3, 2, 1, and then I clap. And then I turn the microphone back off, because if I don't do that, I will have a double audio, because I will have the audio in GeForce Experience and also in my OBS, which you don't want. Because I did the 3, 2, 1 clap thing, it generates this like wave on the timeline. As you can see, these two look very similar. What you want to do is you want to grab your file and you want to try to align them. I usually try to align them on the clap. So let's see, it needs to be a little bit more to the right. Maybe a little bit more. No, that's a bit too much. Go back a little bit, just like that. And now let's play it. 3, 2, 1. You hear? They're identical, which means our footage is now synced up. Now don't move it around anymore. This is synced footage. Now that your footage is synced up, you can pretty much start editing it. Let's get a crop effect onto my camera, because as you can see right now, my camera is full screen, which is what I want for the beginning. However, if I zoom it out, you will see that it looks like this, which is not exactly what I want because it's too wide. So what I did is I grabbed a crop effect, which allows me to crop my camera. So I'm gonna crop it down a bit so that there's no like massive gaping hole above my head. And then it's time for the right and left crop. Now this is a little bit hard because you want it to be a square. That way it looks the best. The problem is that not only does it have to be a square, it also needs to be centered around you. And I don't exactly sit centered in my camera at all times, because sometimes I'll be sitting like this, and then sometimes I'll be sitting like laid back. And then if you crop it, it's basically gonna look like that. There we go. This is about good. Now what I'm gonna do is you see this little like weird thing that I'm dragging around? this needs to go in the corner. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna drag it into the corner. I usually like to have it 15 off both sides. There we go. Now let's make it the scale to 30, which is what I usually have it at. What I also usually do is I add a little bit of a shadow. So let's get the drop shadow. That's the one that I need. And then you can see here, these are the effects controls. I usually make the distance 50, which makes it a little bit off, which makes it visible, but it's very clear. I want it to kind of blend in a little bit more. So let's get the softness to 50 as well. And there we go. This is how I usually have my camera shadow. Now everything is ready, except for one thing. What I like to do, and this is not something you really need, but I like to do it because it makes my video look a little bit better quality. I have presets for color correction for my videos. If I go into presets here, I have a camera color correction preset and also a screen color correction preset. I do alternate these every now and again, mainly the screen color correction one, because the color correction for the screen works better with different games, and there's no preset that works perfectly with every single game. So let's get the camera color correction. There we go. You can see that looks a little bit nicer. Color correction is also one of the hardest parts of making YouTube videos because you want your video to look good. And it's something that I myself am really bad at, especially because YouTube also darkens videos a little bit. So what I have to do is I have to make it a little bit more bright, knowing that YouTube will make it a little bit more dark. Alright, after having played around with my color correction, this should be about as good as I want it to be. And now comes the simple process of editing the video itself. So what you are seeing right now is a time lapse of me editing the rest of the video. This I'm hoping will kind of show how much effort it actually takes to make a video. To edit a video professionally, you're gonna need a little bit more than your usual 20 minutes. Every time I edit a video, I put about 5 to 6 hours into editing every single one, including this one. Now, as you saw, I have done a lot of regular cuts. These are called rough cuts. They're basically just simple cuts where you trim a video and then put it together with a different clip. However, if you look closely, you will see these random weird dots appear on the left side of the screen from time to time. These are called keyframes. Now, Aspect, what the hell is a keyframe? Keyframes are basically the most important thing in making a video look professional. I'm sure many of you have seen these like animated zooms that I do, like for example this one. This is exactly what a keyframe is. It's an animated zoom designed to make things look more professional. And sometimes you will also see a green track appear at the bottom of my timeline. These are sound effects that I use for my videos. Either sound effects or music, it can be either one, or both. This is mainly so that the video is still entertaining to watch throughout the entire thing and you don't like fall asleep from boredom, because I wouldn't want that. If you put fitting background music under every part of your video will already look a lot better than before. Now what you're seeing is me making the thumbnail for the video. Now when it comes to thumbnails, please take everything I say with a giant grain of salt, because as I'm sure many of you have seen, I am terrible at thumbnails. I barely know how to use Photoshop. It's just something that I'm not really that interested in. Well, I'm interested in it, but it's just so hard and so difficult to make a thumbnail actually look professional. And after having made the thumbnail, all that is left is to finally render the video and then upload it to YouTube. And that's it. You're done. Your video is done. That is the entire process of how I make my videos. And this is what I do for every singular one. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, thank you so much for 300 subscribers. I'm actually kind of curious, how long would it take for us to hit 400? Actually, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Leave your bets down in the comments. Do you think that we can hit 400 subscribers before the end of the year? Because I think we can do it. Thank you so much for watching the entire video. Of course, I do hope that you did enjoy, and I will of course see you in the next one.